kachang nunca.
Oh,
Goodbye. Nishan. Wow. I am so amazed by so many things. I want to thank Pastor. I want to thank Pastor. I want to thank Mike. And I want to thank Gambella for treating us like family. Because the thing is, when we get to heaven, we'll all be family. So it's great that you guys are practicing that early. I am so amazed and blessed to be in front of you all today. And I am ashamed to say that back in America, I have never seen a sight like this. Even in America, it is very, very rare to find this many people together in one room, worshiping God. Everybody in America has a car. Most only live 10-20 minutes away from church. Yet I still have not seen such an event in America that is this packed and this disciplined. It is a sight to see. And your dedication to this church will not go unnoticed. Today, I would like to share a very personal message to me. I don't have a lot to say, but what I do have to say, I believe, is one of the most important things that I have found within the Bible. We will not be going very deep into the Word. In fact, today I've made it very simple for all of us. We will be using one verse and one verse only. But before we get into that verse, I need to give you a little background information. Pastor has introduced me as also a pastor. So of course you guys all know me as some pastor. And some of you may think, oh, if he's been a pastor, he must have always enjoyed church his entire life. It must have been very easy for him to go to church and love God. He must always have been disciplined in God and church. But my journey with God has not been an easy one. It has been a lot of running away. It has been a lot of hiding. And it has been a lot of fear and selfishness. But even through that, I have seen the love and glory of God pierce through. There was a point in my life where I became very tired of attending church and being a pastor. And the only thing I felt in my heart that I could do was to just run away. And so I said bye to all my Adventist friends. I stopped talking to my mother for 3 years. I had no ties with the church. I completely separated and ran away. And in that time, it was a long, hard, difficult journey in finding myself. The important questions that we need to ask ourselves constantly. Who am I without church? Who am I without my parents' influence? Who am I without my pastor job? Who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? These are the tough questions I had to fight against. But in that 3-year fight, God never left me. In fact, He was just as strong near me as He was before. I just did not know it at the time. So, in that 3-year journey, I came across this one verse. It was one of my first steps in truly understanding the Bible in a real, impactful way. I am sharing with you one of my secrets today. In this verse lies the blueprint, the roadmap, the formula, the behavior that God has shown throughout all of history. This concept is so simple to understand that when I first heard it, my mind was blown. How could I have not seen something so simple? How could I have not seen something so obvious? Literally in front of my face. I was blind, but now I see. And so if you're willing to have your mind blown, turn with me to Matthew 11:28. And I'll be reading that one verse with you. I'm telling you, we're not going to be spending any other time in the Bible, only this one verse. So if you forget everything I say in this next time period, that's okay. Just don't forget this one verse. We are in Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Sounds like a very simple verse. We need to now figure out the formula behind this verse. What we need to do is split this verse into 3 distinct parts. So let's do that together. The first part is come to me. But that's not the important part, right? Right after that, let's cut that up. All who are heavy, burdened, and heavy, all who are weary and burdened and heavy laden. That's the first part. The second part is the I. Who is what? It's Jesus. The I is Jesus. So part 2 is Jesus. And part 3, the final part, 1, 2, 3, give you rest. But we can make it much more simple than that. It's just rest. So let's go through this again. Part 1, people who are tired of this world. It is hard to live in these circumstances. Sin is so wild, I do not know what to do in this world. That's part 1. Part 2 is Jesus. And part 3, rest. This is the formula of how God shows His love to us. And the great part about this verse, I have come to see that it is the formula that is inside almost every single biblical story that you have read and heard. You don't believe me? Well, I have proof. Let's start with Matthew, the tax collector. We know the story of Matthew. Ne kon Matthew.
He was a mean old tax collector taking money from people.
Ramala tol bo tol kan yoga na.
I can't imagine that Matthew was satisfied with his life. He was burdened and heavy laden. Then what happened? Jesus came. Matthew stops being a tax collector. And he becomes a disciple. And he finds rest. He was a tax collector. Jesus came. Matthew found rest. Let's try another example. Moses in Exodus. Before Moses came on the scene, before Moses delivered the Israelites, what was the state of God's people? Slavery for 400 years. They were tired. They were hurt. They had forgotten about God. They had no way out of that torture. Burdened and heavy laden. And then what happens? Moses comes. Moses delivers them out of Egypt. Promised land. They were tired. Moses delivered them. They found rest. Let's keep going. David versus Goliath. The Israelites did not know how to fight the Philistines. They had Goliath. Yeah. Very scared. Don't know what to do. David comes. David, who has the humility of God. And then they win the battle. It seems very simple. Let's do a few more, just so you can truly believe me on this concept. This one's an easy one. Lazarus died. Heavy and burdened and laden. Tired. Death. Jesus comes. Lazarus is born again. He finds rest. And if you don't believe me, here's the last final example. You can find this all throughout the Bible for yourself. I dare you to go try. But if you don't believe me that this verse is the blueprint of the Bible, then let me share with you one last example. Even the Bible itself follows this formula. How is that possible? Let's split the Bible into its three different parts. Old Testament, Gospel, New Testament. What's happening in the Old Testament? People are going crazy like chickens with their heads cut off. They don't know what to do. They're killing each other. They're committing sin. They're hurting their prophets. Worshipping idols. Disobeying the word of God. They had no idea what they were doing. That's the Old Testament. And then Jesus comes in the gospel to fulfill the And then what do we see in the New Testament? We start with Acts, which is a story and an example of some of the greatest Christian community that we have ever witnessed. A community filled with unconditional love of God. They supported each other. They cared for each other. They found rest. Old Testament was tiring. Jesus comes.
shares his love,
จะลงเป็นยอด
and then the world is changed and we have an opportunity to find rest now.
ชีวิตมอเราได้แก่ที่จะคอนแต่กับความโกรธความหวังเนี่ย
This is the blueprint of the Bible.
นั่นเป็นที่ทุกที่นิวส์ไบเบิล
And this is also the blueprint of your life and my life.
กันเราบอกจะเราทุกที่เคยเป็นคนเจ็บเนี่ย
So, this is a simple concept to understand.
นั่นเป็นที่ชาวบ้านเรามาจุดเลยนั่นเอง
What is the most important part of this verse then? What is the most important part of every one of these stories?
เราเวลาจะเกิดเราคิดจะเราก็เปิดแต่ก็รู้จะเกิดเราแรงใจจังจริง
Come to me, all who are weary and burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The I is the most important part. Right? It sounds so cliche, but Jesus is the most important. But this is something we all know, right? Of course Jesus is the most important. So what does this mean now? The I, the Jesus, is the most important part. So if you accept Jesus into your heart, you will find rest. Right? But does that just mean we just say, oh, I love you, God, thank you, God, and then we're perfectly fine? I love you, God. Thank you so much, God. I hope my life is comfortable for the rest of my life. We just need to say, I love you, God, and that's it, right? I don't need to do anything else. Because Jesus gave me his love. I don't need to do anything. And this is how maybe some of us are thinking and feeling. But I want to tell you that that is not the case. Just because you find rest in Jesus, rest does not mean easy life. You will still be thrown with obstacles. You will still be thrown with hardships. Because true servants of Jesus are constantly leveling up. They are constantly being trained for another purpose, a bigger purpose. And so let me tell you this, brothers and sisters, take it from my experience. If you have truly met Jesus in your life, something starts to happen in your heart. You start to realize that the best thing you can do for your life is to be good to other people. You almost can't stop it. You can't change it. The power of Jesus' love is so strong that if you truly feel it, there is a conversion experience that takes place in your heart. And your sinful nature starts to become undone. So what does that look like? What does that mean? We have one example of humans before sin came into the world. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. Yeah. The first humans to ever set foot on earth. And what were their responsibilities? What was their purpose? Why did they exist? We don't know the 100% of it. But we know that they were given responsibilities. They were to name all the animals. They were to take care of the nature. They were the rulers of this world. It was their responsibility to take care of where they lived. The place that God gave to them out of love. Right? And so your sinful nature, once it becomes reverted, once it becomes undone, we start to be like the original Adam and Eve again. Where we're not worried about sin, but we are obligated and we feel responsibility to take care of this world. Because this world was given to us by God. What is the one difference between Christianity and every other religion in the world? You might have to think about this for a while. But I'm going to tell you what I have found. And Ray, I already talked about this with you, so no sharing with anybody yet, okay? I'm going to tell you a little story, and this is how we're going to wrap up. This story is called The Man in the Hole. So, sit back and listen to this wonderful story. So, long time ago, there was a man. He was stuck in a hole. No matter what he did, he could not get out. He tried climbing. He tried calling for help. But he was still stuck in the hole. There was nothing he could do to get out of that hole. So then, a Buddhist individual walks by. And the man in the hole, he says, "Sir, help me! How can I get out of this hole?" And the Buddhist responded. He said, "If you pray every day, if you meditate to Buddha, if you follow the path of Buddha, if you do everything that Buddha wrote, well then maybe in your next life, you will be reincarnated into a butterfly. And then you can fly out of the hole." So the man tried this. The man tried it. He prayed to Buddha in the hole. He followed the laws of Buddha in the hole. And many years passed. But he was still stuck in the hole. So then a Muslim person walks by. "Sir, help me! How do I get out of this hole?" If you follow these rules, and if you read the Torah, and read the Quran, then you will have a better life and you can then get out of this hole somehow. Maybe you will have peace in your heart where the hole doesn't matter anymore. And the hole won't hurt you. The hole won't hurt you. So the man tried this. But he was still stuck in the hole. Nothing changed. Many years go by. More people walk by. "Sir, how do I get out of this hole?" "Oh, you do this. You do that. You do this. You do that. And you do this. And maybe you will be out of the hole." An atheist walks by. "Sir, how do I get out of this hole?" And the atheist said, "The hole doesn't exist." But this man knows this hole exists. That's his reality. He is stuck in this hole. Another man walks by. He has a red sash, white robe, holes in his hands, holes in his feet, thorn crowns. And he walks by
And
the man in the hole says, "Sir, how do I get out?" And the man says, "There is nothing you can do to get out of this hole. You can try all you want. You can do everything you can, but you cannot do anything to get out of that hole. You are stuck in that hole." And so the man starts crying, knees down, crying, weeping. "Oh no, how do I get out of this hole? I'm stuck forever. I can't do this." And while he's crying, what happens? The man comes down into the hole, puts up a ladder, he picks up the man, and he carries him out of the hole. And that man is no longer stuck in the hole. This person, obviously, is Jesus. This is the one difference between Christianity and the rest of the religions out there in the world. Every other religion in the world says this. You have to follow these rules. And you have to do this thing. And you have to do that. And you have to get married by a certain age. And you need to make this much money. And you need to give this much tithe. And you have to do this. And this. And that. And then maybe you will be saved. Maybe. But Christianity, Jesus is the only person who tells you you can't do it on your own. And I'm not asking you to. I don't need you to do it on your own. I gave you love. Before you existed, I gave you love. Before sin even cropped up in this universe. And I will carry you out of that hole. That is not just love. That's grace. And when you hear that story of grace, I bet there's something that happens in here. I hope. We don't deserve this love. Us sinful humans, we belong in that hole. That hole is our life. You are that man in the hole. There is nothing you can do to save yourself. And even if you try to save yourself, you will ruin yourself. Take it from me. That's exactly what happens. We must continue to rely on God. Continue to rely on God. We must continue to rely on Jesus' grace. And if you truly believe in that grace, then you should feel this certainty, this want to give back. You can't hide it. You cannot change it. That is just how powerful God's love is. That is the story of the man in the hole. And what I hope everyone here can learn from this story is that Jesus gives us so much more than we deserve. And so you need to ask yourselves, brothers and sisters, how does that make you feel? Does it make you want to give back? Young people, does it make you want to take care of Gambella? Because young people, if you do not take care of Gambella, The future generations will not be able to enjoy Gambella. I call everyone here today to take pride in the grace of God and to stop worrying about heaven. That's not important. What we are asked to do is to try to create heaven on earth. And if you can enjoy a life on earth filled with love, filled with grace, filled with kindness to our brothers and sisters, to our family. If you can do that here on earth, oh, then trust me, you are way more deserving of what's here. But that is not the goal. The goal is to bring love here. And so, once again, I pray for my brothers and sisters. I pray for myself that we can do right by the grace of God. That now we are out of the hole because of Jesus. We can now go help other people get out of that hole. Thank you so much for your time, God. Amen.